Let's be honest, we're all kind of drowning in data, right? Every click, every swipe, every single transaction, it's just this constant tidal wave of raw facts. And yet, here's the crazy part. For all that noise, we're often starving for actual wisdom. So today, we're going to crack the code. We're going to explore a framework that turns all that overwhelming noise into clear, confident decisions. And that's really the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do we get from this mountain of disconnected facts all the way to the top where we can confidently say, yep, this is the right move? Well, the answer isn't some kind of magic trick. It's actually a super powerful framework that works like a ladder, guiding us up one step at a time. And here is our map for the journey, the Data, Information, Knowledge, Wisdom Pyramid, or DIKW for short. We're going to climb this thing from the ground up, starting with the raw materials and going all the way to the peak of decision-making. Each level builds on the one before it, so let's start at the very foundation. So here we are, level 1, raw data. This is the absolute bedrock of our pyramid. You can think of this level as just a pile of building materials. Individual bricks, planks of wood, but with no blueprint, no instructions, just stuff. So what is data, really? Well, it's just raw, unprocessed facts, pure, unorganized values. It could be a single number, a word, a server log. By itself, it has zero meaning. It doesn't tell you anything useful, it just exists. Okay, let's look at a real example. We see a date, a time, a place, Seoul, and a temperature, 18.2 degrees Celsius. These are all just individual pieces of data. But what do they actually mean when you put them together? Is 18.2 degrees warm? Is it cold for Seoul in October? Right now, we have absolutely no way of knowing. It's just a number floating in space. And here's why this is so critical. If this foundation is shaky, the entire pyramid is going to come crashing down. That's why the quality of your data is totally non-negotiable. It has to be accurate, complete, consistent, and up to date. Because garbage in at the bottom, well, you know the rest. It means garbage out at the top, every single time. All right, let's climb up to level 2, information. This is where we take all those scattered bricks of raw data and we finally start arranging them. We're actually beginning to build something that has some structure and, more importantly, some meaning. So information is simply data that's been processed, organized, and structured. Suddenly, it has context. We're not just staring at a single fact anymore. Now we're looking at a collection of facts that actually answer some basic questions like what, who, when, and where. Think of a sales dashboard or a weekly summary report. Remember that single data point, 18.2 degrees in Seoul? Well, by collecting and averaging all the temperature readings for the month, we transform it into information. Now it says Seoul's average temperature in October was 18.2 degrees, and hey, that's 0.9 degrees higher than last year. See the difference? That lonely number now has context, it has meaning. It's not just a fact, it's a trend. That is information. The key moves at this stage are things like aggregation, processing, and visualization. We're summarizing data, we're calculating averages, and we're putting it into charts and reports. Basically, turning all those raw numbers into something that we humans can understand at a glance. Now, this is a really common tripwire, so let's be super clear here. Information tells you what happened. Think of a sales report showing last month's numbers. Knowledge, which is our next level up, tells you how or why it happened. It's all about uncovering the hidden rules. So, bottom line, information describes the past, knowledge explains it, and helps us predict the future. Okay, on to level 3, knowledge. This is where we make the jump from what to why. We're not just describing what happened anymore, we're starting to really understand the hidden mechanics of how things actually work. This is the level of the aha moment. Knowledge pops up when we analyze information to find and then generalize patterns. It's all about creating a rule or a model that explains how the world works, a rule that we can apply to totally new situations. So let's go back to our ice cream shop. We have information telling us it's getting warmer. We also have information showing our ice cream sales are going up. But what's the actual pattern connecting them? How are these two things really related? Let's take a look. And we find this one single powerful number, 6%. We've just boiled down all that information into one simple general rule. For every 1 degree Celsius increase in temperature, ice cream sales go up by 6%. This right here is the leap to knowledge. It's not just about last month anymore. It's a predictive model. We now know the relationship, and that knowledge is incredibly powerful. And here we are. We've made it to the peak of the pyramid. Level 4, decisive wisdom. You see, having knowledge is fantastic, but it's not the final goal. The very last step is using that knowledge to make the best possible call. Wisdom is what happens when you apply knowledge with judgment. It's where we take our neat little rule and we combine it with the messiness of the real world. Things like costs, risks, experience, even ethics. It moves us from understanding how it works to answering the ultimate question. So, what should we do? And this is what it looks like in practice. We know the rule, and we see a heat wave is forecasted. So we make a strategic decision. Let's increase our ice cream stock by 15% and get more refrigerated trucks on the road. We're not just repeating a fact. We are applying our knowledge to prepare for the future, carefully balancing the costs of more stock against the risk of selling out. That is wisdom in action. This pyramid isn't just some neat theory. It's a really practical tool that gets used every single day across tons of industries to make better choices. So let's quickly recap the journey and see how it applies everywhere else. The path is actually pretty simple, but it's so powerful. You collect the raw data, the facts, you organize it to give it meaning, you analyze that meaning to find the rules, and finally, you apply those rules with judgment to make a decision. Facts, meaning, rules, judgment. That's the flow. And you see this exact same pattern play out everywhere. In retail, point-of-sale logs become weekly sales reports, which then help build a demand forecast model, which leads to a smart stocking plan. Or in manufacturing, sensor readings become failure rate information, which builds a predictive maintenance model, which lets you schedule proactive repairs that save a ton of money. The framework is universal. So the big takeaway here is this. Your data is always talking. It's constantly trying to tell you something. The DIKW pyramid is just the framework that helps you finally understand its language. It's the path from just collecting facts to making genuinely wise choices. So the only real question left is, are you listening for wisdom?